I waited at the airport with tears in my eyes, watching my fiancé walk toward me after a year apart. But when our eyes met, he just walked past me and kissed another woman. Stunned, I confronted him, but he smirked and said, "I don't know you." His mother pulled me aside and whispered, "We told him you were a mistake." Heartbroken, I turned to leave, until I found a hidden letter he wrote to himself before he lost his memory. I, 29 female, was engaged to Alex, 31 male. We were together for 4 years, lived together in Queens, New York, and we had plans to get married last fall. But his company sent him to London for a year-long international project. It was a big deal for his career. He asked me if I'd be okay with it and promised we'd make it work. I supported him. I told him to go and chase his dreams. We'd talk every day, video call every weekend. I even visited once, during month 4. Things were great. Or so I thought. Fast forward to 11 months later. His project ended early. He was coming back home. We were finally going to be together again. I even cleaned up our apartment, filled the fridge with his favorite foods, and bought fresh flowers. I took a half day off work and went to JFK Airport with a handmade sign that said, "Welcome home, love." I stood there for over an hour, so excited I thought I'd burst. Then I saw him. He looked the same, tired from the flight, scruffy, but still my Alex. My heart was beating so hard it hurt. I stepped forward, smiled, and held up my sign. He made eye contact with me. He paused for maybe 2 seconds. Then, he walked right past me. I blinked, thinking maybe he didn't see me. But he had. He made eye contact. I know what I saw. And then he walked straight to a woman waiting just behind me. Blonde, tall, clearly expecting him. He dropped his bags, wrapped his arms around her, and kissed her. Full-on, deep kiss. Not a friend. Not a cousin. A girlfriend type of kiss. Everything froze. I must have looked like an idiot, standing there with my stupid sign and tears in my eyes. I just stood there. I didn't know what to do. I thought maybe this was some messed up dream. My chest physically hurt. I dropped the sign and walked up to them. I tapped his arm. "Alex?" I said. My voice was shaking. He turned. Looked at me. And said, "I'm sorry, do I know you?" I wish I was making this up. I felt the air leave my lungs. I thought he was joking. I actually laughed a little and said, "Cut it out. It's me. What the hell are you doing?" But he just looked confused. Like he was actually serious. Then his mom showed up. She looked surprised to see me there. I always thought she liked me, but I guess I was wrong. She walked over, grabbed my arm, and pulled me to the side. Her voice was low but firm. She said, "He doesn't need this right now. We told him you were a mistake." A mistake. I didn't know what to say. I was shaking. My legs felt weak. They walked off together. Alex, the woman, and his mom, leaving me standing there like trash someone forgot to pick up. I went home, sat on the couch, and cried for hours. I didn't eat. I barely slept. I called him. Texted. Left voicemails. Nothing. Blocked. Gone. A week later, I couldn't take it anymore. I went to his old place, his parents' house on Long Island, where he was staying temporarily. I needed closure. I needed something. No one answered the door. But I knew the side gate was always open. I don't know what came over me, I'm not proud of it, but I went around and peeked into the window of the room he used to stay in. His stuff was there. They told him things. They told him I was someone he dated briefly but that we'd broken up before he left. They told him we were toxic. That I cheated. That we fought constantly. That I was manipulative. All lies. I guess he believed them. He had no way to know otherwise. He barely remembered things himself. He didn't even question it. They introduced him to someone new, the woman at the airport. Her name's Stephanie. She's the daughter of one of his dad's coworkers. They told him she was who he dated before London. That they had rekindled. And then he came back. And I was just a stranger at the airport. I don't know what broke me more, the fact that he forgot me, or that his parents wanted him to forget me. I couldn't sleep for days. I stopped eating again. I called out of work sick. Just lay in bed, crying. Until Rachel called again. She said she found something. She snuck into his room and took photos of a page in that notebook. It was written before the accident, maybe a month before. He'd written, "Some days I think about coming home early. I miss her so much it hurts. But Mom keeps telling me that she's wrong for me. That she'll leave me one day. Dad says I'm too focused on her, that I've lost ambition. I don't know. I love her. But maybe I'm being stupid." And then another line under it. What if I forget how I feel? What if I lose sight of what matters? I stared at those words for hours. He knew. He felt what they were doing. And he was scared of losing me. And then, it happened. He forgot. And they took full advantage. This was the man I was going to marry. We had talked about kids. We had picked wedding venues. And just like that, I was erased. I don't know what to do. I'm sitting here staring at old photos, videos of us dancing in the kitchen, old voicemails. I want to fight for him, but would he even believe me now? His family clearly doesn't want me around. And he's with someone else now. Someone who didn't have to fight for a place in his life. I haven't seen him since that airport day. But I can't get his face out of my mind, the way he looked past me like I didn't matter. Like I never existed. Should I try to talk to him again? Or should I just accept that the person I loved is gone? So, yeah. I didn't know if I should let it go or try again. I felt like someone had ripped the life I built out of my hands and handed it to another woman while I stood there watching. But I couldn't stop thinking about that notebook. That letter to himself. He knew something was wrong. That night, I drove out to Long Island again. I parked down the block from his parents' place. I just sat there, engine off, hands on the steering wheel, staring at the front door. All the lights were on. I knew he was home. I didn't want to cause drama. I didn't want to seem like some crazy ex who couldn't let go. But I had to talk to him. Really talk to him. Then, by some miracle, Rachel came outside. She spotted me in the car and walked straight over. "Come with me," she said. She didn't even wait for me to respond. I followed her through the side gate, around the back, into the basement entrance. She told me their parents were asleep. Alex was in his room. And she had something else to show me. She pulled out a small, crumpled envelope from behind a loose panel in the wall. It had my name on it, in Alex's handwriting. "I found this a few days ago," she said. "It was buried behind some boxes in the storage room. I think he wrote this before the accident. Before he forgot." My hand shook as I opened it. The note inside wasn't long. Just a few lines, messy, like he'd written it in a rush. "If anything happens to me, don't let them erase her. Don't believe their lies. I love her. I always will. Alex." I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream. Cry. Kick down the door and shake him until he remembered. But I didn't. I just sat there, holding the paper like it was the last piece of him I had. Rachel asked if I wanted to try talking to him again. This time, calmly, just the two of us. I agreed. She walked me upstairs and knocked on his door. It was past midnight, but he opened it anyway. He looked surprised, confused, but not angry. He looked at Rachel, then at me. "Can we talk?" I asked. He didn't say anything. Just stepped aside. His room looked the same. Posters from college. A shelf full of fantasy novels. The hoodie I gave him 2 Christmases ago was draped over his chair. He didn't even know it was mine. I sat on the edge of the bed. He stayed near the desk, arms crossed. "You probably don't remember me," I said. "Not really. But I'm not here to beg. I'm here because you asked me not to let them erase me." I handed him the letter. He read it. "Then read it again." "I wrote this?" he asked, voice barely a whisper. "You did," I said. "You wrote it before the accident. Before they told you I was a mistake." He sat down slowly, like the weight of everything was too much. "I've been having dreams," he said, staring at the floor. "Bits and pieces. A woman laughing. Someone dancing with me in the kitchen. I thought it was just my brain playing tricks." "It was me," I said, and I could barely say it without my voice cracking. "That was our life." He looked like he wanted to believe me. But he didn't know how. Then, a twist I didn't expect. He said, "They told me I had a breakdown. That you cheated on me. That I was hospitalized because of it." My stomach dropped. "What?" "They said you broke me," he whispered. "That you got bored, left me, and when I lost it, they had to get me help." I don't remember any of it. But I believed them. I couldn't even speak. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut all over again. I pulled out my phone. Scrolled through photos. Videos. Showed him everything. Our trip to Boston. His birthday dinner. The picnic at Central Park where he told me he wanted kids someday. His eyes welled up. "I know this isn't your fault," I said. "You were hurt. You lost your memory. But they lied. And they used your pain to cut me out of your life." He nodded slowly. "I don't know what's real anymore." That's when the door opened. His mom stood there, face pale, staring at me like I was a ghost. "I asked you to leave him alone," she hissed. "Mom," Alex said, standing up. "What is she talking about? Did you lie to me?" She froze. "Everything we did was to protect you." "Did you tell me she cheated?" No answer. "Did you lie about the hospital?" Still nothing. "Answer me." She stepped back, stunned. "You were fragile. You couldn't handle the truth." "That was the truth," he shouted. "And you buried it." He turned to me. "I need time. I need to figure out what else they've lied about." I nodded, my chest tight. I left that night without a hug, without closure, but with one thing I didn't have before: hope. He remembered something. But what came next? I didn't see that coming either. Because 3 days later, Stephanie, the other woman, showed up at my apartment. And she wasn't alone. 3 days after that night at Alex's house, I heard a knock on my apartment door. It was late, maybe 10:30 p.m. I was in pajamas, halfway through reheating leftover pasta. I wasn't expecting anyone. Honestly, I thought it might be Rachel again. Maybe with an update. Maybe Alex remembered more. But it wasn't Rachel. It was Stephanie. Yes. Her. The woman he kissed at the airport. The one his parents introduced to him. The one who, for the past few months, had taken my place without even knowing it. And she wasn't alone. In her arms was a baby. A real, live baby. She looked exhausted. No makeup. Hair pulled into a bun. Eyes red like she'd been crying for hours. She didn't even speak at first. Just stood there, looking at me like I was some piece of a puzzle she never wanted to solve. I stood frozen. Finally, I found my voice. "What do you want?" "Can I come in?" she asked, her voice hoarse. I didn't move. She looked down at the baby. "Please." I stepped aside. I didn't know what else to do. She walked in slowly, clutching the baby like a shield. We sat across from each other. I didn't say anything. Just waited. She finally looked up. He told me everything. I blinked. Everything? She nodded. The letter. The journal. The photos. All of it. He asked me for space, and I gave it to him. But I knew something was off even before that. I didn't know how to feel. Angry? Sad? Relieved? I just waited. She continued, when he first got back from London, he was distant. We weren't really dating. His parents wanted us together. He didn't question it because they made it sound like history. Like we were rekindling something real. And the baby? I asked quietly. She looked down again. That's not his. My heart skipped. I was seeing someone before Alex, she said. Briefly. Stupid rebound thing after my divorce. I got pregnant. My family freaked. His parents offered to help. Said they'd support me and the baby. That if I just played along, Alex would eventually step in and we'd all be one big happy family. I felt sick. They used both of us, she said, her voice breaking. They made him believe he loved me. Made me believe he needed me. And now, I think we're both just broken in different ways. She stood, rocked the baby gently. I don't want to be part of whatever story they're telling anymore. I wanted to meet you. The real you. The one they were so desperate to erase. I didn't have words. I just nodded. I'll be leaving town soon, she said. Going back to my parents in Rochester. But I thought you deserved to hear the truth from me. Before she left, she handed me a folded piece of paper. It's from him, she said. He wrote it last night. She walked out before I could open it. I stood there in my hallway, heart pounding, baby cries still echoing in my ears. Then I unfolded the note. I see your face in my dreams now. I remember your laugh. I remember the way you hated mushrooms on pizza but always picked them off instead of complaining. I'm starting to remember you. And every piece I remember makes the lie feel heavier. I don't know who I am without you, but I'm scared to find out. I'm trying. Please don't give up on me. I sat down and cried like I hadn't cried in weeks. But there was something else, on the back of the note, scribbled almost like an afterthought. Dad said if I kept asking questions, he'd have me evaluated again. Said the last time I didn't listen, they fixed it. What does that mean? Something shifted in me then. A cold fear. Because it wasn't just manipulation anymore. It was control. Gaslighting. And maybe worse. His parents didn't just want me out of his life. They wanted full control of it. And now that Alex was starting to question things, now that I was back in the picture, I had a feeling they wouldn't stop at just cutting me off. They'd done it once. They could do it again. The question is, what did they do the first time? And what exactly were they willing to do now? After that letter, I knew what I had to do. I had to confront his parents. Not scream. Not rage. Just bring everything into the light. The lies. The manipulation. The threats. All of it. If Alex had even a small chance at finding himself again, they couldn't keep holding the puppet strings. I called Rachel. I told her I wanted to bring everything into the open. She agreed. She said Alex had started asking questions again, piecing things together slowly, but he was scared. Scared of what he'd uncover, and scared of his own father. So we planned it. A family dinner. One of those fake civil ones his mother loved to arrange. The kind where everyone pretends nothing's wrong while secrets rot under the table. I showed up to the Long Island house on a Sunday evening. I brought copies of everything, photos of the journal, his pre-accident letter, the recent note. Rachel and I had it all. Alex was already there. He looked nervous, like a man caught between two lives. Stephanie wasn't there, she had left town the day before, true to her word. Took her baby and disappeared into peace. We sat at the table. His dad, John, was quiet. Too quiet. His mom, Evelyn, plastered on a fake smile. Rachel sat on one end. I sat next to Alex. No one spoke for a solid 2 minutes. Then I said, "We need to talk." His mom immediately stiffened. "This isn't the time for drama." Alex looked at her. "It's exactly the time." I pulled out the letters. "He remembers." His dad scoffed. "Remembers what?" "Dreams don't count as memories." "I remember things," Alex said, louder now. "I remember Central Park. I remember her birthday. I remember being happy with her." His mom's smile faded. "You were sick. You needed help." "You lied," Rachel said. She pulled out the printed photo of his journal page. "He wrote this before the accident. You both knew it. You buried it." His mom's voice cracked. "We were protecting him." Alex stood up. "From what? From someone who loved me? From my own life?" And then his father exploded. "Because you were weak," he barked, slamming his hand on the table. "You fell apart the first time she left for a weekend trip. You couldn't sleep. You skipped work. You were failing. We had to pick up the pieces." Everyone froze. "You had a breakdown. And we fixed it. We got you the help you needed, and you were finally focused again." I stared at him. "You put him in a hospital." He pointed at me. "You were a distraction. All tears and promises. You would have dragged him down." Alex's voice was shaking now. "You had me drugged. You told me she cheated. You brought Stephanie in like I was some pawn to move around." His mother whispered, "We were trying to give you a new start." "No. You tried to erase me," I said quietly. "And then the final blow." Rachel stood, voice trembling. "Tell him the truth, Dad. Tell him what the psychiatrist said. That the memory loss wasn't permanent. That it would come back. And you asked him to lie about it. To forget on purpose." Evelyn gasped. "Rachel, no," she snapped. "I'm done lying." John's face twisted. "We gave him a better version of his life. He was doing better without her." Alex was crying now. Silent tears. Shoulders shaking. His fists clenched at his sides. "You didn't give me anything," he said. "You stole everything." Then he turned to me. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't know. I didn't believe you. I let them poison what we had." I shook my head. "It wasn't your fault." He nodded slowly. "But it still happened." Then he looked back at them. "I'm done. I'm cutting ties. I don't want to see either of you again." His mom broke down. Begged. His dad stood there, arms crossed, jaw clenched. No apology. No regret. We walked out of that house and never looked back. The days that followed were quiet. Tired. Alex moved in with Rachel temporarily. He started therapy again, real therapy this time, with someone neutral. He asked me to give him time, space. Not because he didn't love me, but because he needed to find himself again. His real self. Not the version they built around lies and control. I respected that. We messaged sometimes. Sometimes we'd meet for coffee, just to talk. Just two people learning how to breathe again. Stephanie sent me one last message from Rochester. She said she was grateful. That we gave her the strength to walk away too. That she wished us peace. Funny thing, none of this brought closure the way I thought it would. The truth was out. But the scars remained. Rachel stayed close. She told me one night over wine, they thought they were fixing him. But all they did was destroy the pieces that mattered most. And she was right. I don't know where Alex and I stand today. We're not back together. But we're not strangers either. He told me once, loving you was the only thing I'm sure of. But I need to remember how to be someone you deserve. And I understood that. Maybe we'll find each other again. Maybe we won't. But I know this, I fought for the truth. I found my voice in the wreckage. I stood up to the people who wanted me erased. And no matter what comes next, I'm not afraid anymore.